The death toll is climbing as a result of California's recent string of severe weather.
The deadly storms have claimed the lives of at least 20 people across the state. Cleanup crews are working around the clock to remove some of the damage and debris littering California's roadways. Hundreds of landslides have been reported since New Year's Day. Mandatory evacuations remain in effect in parts of the state.
Officials in California say a train stalled and became stuck on the tracks along Niles Canyon earlier today after being struck by a landslide. The train carried more than 200 passengers. CBS News correspondent Kris Van Cleave joins us now from Ojai, California. Kris, thanks for being here with us. You've been covering all of this on this most recent part. How long do local authorities think it will take to make the repairs needed across the state of California?
Well, repairs are likely to stretch into the months, particularly as some of this mudslide concern continues well past when the rain stopped. And if you look around here today, it's a beautiful day, but Californians can tell you they have seen significant landslide events happen even a couple of days after heavy rain. So they're not out of the danger zone yet. In fact, we were up on Highway 33, which isn't too far from here, and speaking to Caltrans workers as they're inspecting that roadway, they're seeing damage for a stretch of about 30 miles there. So that's going to be a lot of work to go up and down that road, and that's just one road here in California. So folks will be dealing with repairs likely for months to come.
And that's the issue, is that the topography there is such that there are many roads, many highways that are the key access, exit and entry point for so many communities. Kris, I'm wondering what all of this means for those who've been uprooted, been evacuated or displaced by the severe weather. What's the outlook for them?
Well, I believe there are still some evacuation orders still in effect, so some folks may not even be able to assess what damage, if any, they've experienced. It will be like any of these disasters that we have covered. Think about the recovery going on in Florida from the hurricane just a few months ago. There will be a rebuilding effort. It will take time. We profiled a woman this morning whose home was hit by a mudslide. Her home was the only that took the brunt of it. Her home was really the only one that suffered damage, but it's since been red tagged, meaning she can't occupy that building. That's going to be a substantial repair process. We know a few homes along that same road that suffered all that damage had the same thing happen to them. The mudslide basically went through the middle of the house. So for some people, it's going to be a long road.
Well, Kris, when we spoke with you earlier today, you mentioned that President Biden is heading to California to tour the damage later this week. He was asked about those landslides. Here's what he had to say.
State leaders, but as Kamala said, we're all closely monitoring the storms, the floods, the landslides all across California. And our heart is with all the families in the communities that are hurting, and all the brave and historic and heroic first responders. Working closely with Governor Newsom, I'm in constant contact with, and the entire delegation, I issued a disaster declaration to support recovery and to rebuild. And I'll be traveling to California on Thursday to assess the damage and see what additional support may be needed. Difficult moments like this remind us.
So you heard the president say that he signed the disaster declaration. What type of aid is he expected to bring with him to California, Kris?
Well, a disaster declaration basically speeds up the process for bringing federal assistance into a state. That could include FEMA resources coming to help people who have been displaced. The president there said he wanted to see California, see some of the damage here himself to help better determine what aid may be necessary. He's heading to the central coast of California, which, just one of the several areas that took a direct hit from some of this unrelenting stretch of storms here, really an unprecedented train of rain that's just pummeled California from north to south.
Yeah, and folks forget, to your point, Kris, just how big of a state California is and how many people are impacted by all of this. Kris Van Cleave, thank you very much.